Ms. Lockridge, you've dragged the defendant, Mr. Tidwell, to court because he has refused to acknowledge your 10-month-old son, King. You are 100% sure he's the father and claim today's results will prove your case. Mr. Tidwell, you say you were never in a serious relationship with Ms. Lockridge and you were stunned when she told you she was pregnant. The timing leads you to suspect that baby King's father must be another man. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Lockridge, tell me about Mr. Tidwell's relationship with your son.
Your Honor, Mr. Tidwell does not have a relationship with my son. The only time he's actually seen my son is when I've made it a convenience for him and brought him to him. That means traveling 4 hours on bus, driving 2 hours on the car to drive to him. He hasn't helped with diapers. He barely helped with any clothes, and it hurts. It's frustrating. He named my son King, and how am I supposed to raise a king, and he's not there?
You named him King, Mr. Tidwell?
Yes, Your Honor.
But you don't have a relationship with him?
Nope, because, Your Honor, I think she's more wants me to be the dad than she really believes I'm the dad. She's obsessed with me, and she's done a lot of different things to make me feel like I'm not the father. She's left town. She's left me with the baby for weeks.
It was not a week.
She hasn't communicated with me. She has other men around.
But you named the child.
She gave me the right to do that. She talked to me. I wasn't there at the birth. She only called me when she had the baby.
So take me back to this relationship. I want to understand all
There
this.
was no relationship, Your Honor.
Just, what, casual sex?
Yes.
We were on and off for 6 years. We were together for my understanding, how he led me to believe I was single, or I was with him in a committed relationship for at least a year. And then I was my side, my personal opinion. We were together for a year.
That's you?
We've been messing around. Okay, well, anyways, we've been messing around for 6 years. I did leave for a 2-year period because I had to get my life back on track.
You had another kid.
Anyways, who could be yours?
That's not
next.
mine.
Anyways, we were sleeping. It was casual sex after the first year. That first year, I was dedicated. Die-hard man fan. Remember that?
No.
Yeah, die-hard man fan. I was smooth his, nobody else's, until I realized he was nothing for me. He was not my future. And I kept thinking, yeah, I do love him. I see potential in him. I see what he could be, but the fact that he doesn't want to step up to be the good man that he could be, that's your loss. But now I got his son. He needs his father.
And I hope he finds it.
Mr. Tidwell, you said she's done some things that make you feel like you weren't the only person she was sleeping with at the time King was conceived. Tell the court.
She has another guy that she was sleeping with.
During the time that you were having sex with Ms. Lockridge, were you aware of anyone else she was involved with sexually?
Not personally, but we weren't.
There was nobody else.
We weren't.
I'm not gonna drive. I'm not gonna ride the bus 4 hours.
We were not
take
in a
3 buses to come sleep with you if I got that in my backyard, though.
It was just sex. And
have you seen me though?
And so how did you find out she was pregnant?
She came over to my house. We hung out. The next day, I see a piece of paper on my bed. I grab it. I looked at it. It was a note with an ultrasound in it.
What did the note say?
I'm not sure the exact words of the note, but it said that she didn't know how to tell me this, and she's sorry she had to tell me like that. So I called her. She didn't answer the phone. She ended up leaving me a text message saying that she was sorry and that she didn't know how to tell me that she was pregnant.
All right, so that's 1 week after you had sex with her, she left you a note.
Yes.
That's a lie.
So now, and you had the ultrasound picture.
She did, yeah.
So on the ultrasound picture, did it tell you how many months the ultrasound was?
No, ma'am.
So, Ms. Lockridge, you leave the ultrasound picture in the note. You agree to that?
Oh, I totally did, because he invited his brother over. His brother was there. That's the sole purpose why I did not tell him I was pregnant. No, I couldn't tell him your brother was there. No, I'm not gonna fix it, because I know how you react. This is how you react. I'm not fixing to have this reaction in front of your brother when I find out I'm finally pregnant. I finally get something from you. The only thing from you.
She's obsessed with me.
No, I'm not.
She wants something from me.
I got plenty of them.
So she wants me to be her baby's dad more than she's sure.
Why that reaction, Ms. Lockridge? You believe he's just not telling the truth?
Because I know for a fact that he's his father. He was the only one I was
said, Your Honor, I finally got something from him.
I was happy that I was pregnant, so I'm not going to ruin that happiness by telling you in front of your brother that I'm pregnant with you when I don't know how you were going to react, because every time I bring anything to you, you react all negative and I get sideways. When we conceived my child, I told him I just had my period a week ago.
That's a lie, Your Honor.
He said, shut up, and we kept going at it for
That's
a lie, Your Honor.
Why would you say something like that?
Okay, so in light of that, romantic conversation.
I know, right?
Wow.
You thought that he wanted or didn't mind if he got you pregnant.
I mean, he just got another girl pregnant 4 months prior, and I asked him, what you gonna do about it? He said, if it's mine, then I'm gonna take care of it. So next time I come over, heck yeah, I'm excited.
So you hear he got another girl pregnant.
Yep.
And then it made you excited to be pregnant?
No, when I found out I was pregnant, I was excited because I was gonna have his baby.
Because you loved him.
I love him. I have a lot of love for him, but am I in love with him? No, because
She's
he doesn't
obsessed
treat
with
me the
you,
way.
huh?
I am not obsessed with you. If I was obsessed with you, there wouldn't be nobody else.
Oh.
Okay. Got that. If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. So let's go forward to the pregnancy. During that time, is he participating at all?
Not at all. Not at all. He didn't care about. I texted him when I was every doctor's appointment, all my weight gains, the weight changes. I even sent him voice recordings of the heartbeat, all that, like the works. When I had my son, I was in labor for 36 hours completely by myself, to the point where the nurse that was with me, she had to call the doctor and ask the doctor if she could stay with me because I was by myself.
Your Honor, I didn't know about the pregnancy or know about her having the baby until she was at the hospital having
That's a lie. I texted him. I'm on my way to the hospital. I'm fixing to have this baby tonight.
I had a job. And I worked every day. I can't just take off a day from the day before she's telling me something. Today. And then again, I'm not for sure who she guys up there trying to be the dad.
I need a father for my child, not a dad. You're the dad. You're the sperm donor. I need my son to have a father.
All right, I'd like to hear from your mother, Mr. Tidwell. Miss Harrington, will you please stand? Step up to the podium. You are Mr. Tidwell's mother.
Yes.
What do you believe, ma'am? Do you believe this is your grandson?
She is very obsessed with my son.
I am not obsessed. I was in love with him.
All she talks about is how much she wants to be with him and how she's got a prayer closet at home for him. One day he's gonna be her husband. Well, you know, this is just obsession, really.
But he has admitted, Mom, to being intimate with Miss Lockridge.
Yeah.
Yes.
So why is it so far-fetched that he could be King's biological father?
Because there was such a long span of time in between. I don't know anything about this young lady, really, other than being King's
That's because
mother.
your son kept me a secret, because I'm actually somebody he could be with, but he's afraid of commitment.
Miss Lockridge, this is difficult because it's obvious you do really want to be with Mr. Tidwell.
No,
you did
not
at
no
some
more.
time. Some time ago. And he seems to have made it clear that he does not want to be in a relationship with you.
If he made it so clear, then stop calling me back, stop texting me, stop inviting me over, stop letting me come over.
Mr. Tidwell, I mean, you know this woman is making this effort. You know she's coming all this way. You know you're sleeping with her without protection. I mean, if you say she's obsessed with you, you feeding the obsession.
I'm not leading her on, Your Honor, to think there's no relationship at all.
Mr. Tidwell, if you believe someone is obsessed with you, or you believe somebody, or you know someone wants to be with you so desperately, and you still let them come see with you, no, it was desperate. But this is my point. You're not the first woman nor the last that was desperately in love with someone. There's nothing wrong. We've all loved.
Right.
And sometimes the person loves us back, and sometimes they don't.
Your Honor, I don't understand how a mother could actually leave her child with people that she doesn't really even know very well for 2 weeks.
It wasn't
and
2
get on
weeks.
the
It was
plane
Thursday
and
to
go
Tuesday
to Nevada, saying she had
No
a modeling
explanation.
job. Just all of a sudden, just jumps up and leaves this baby with us. We took care of the baby at that time.
And she said she was in Nevada. I call her. I'm like, when are you coming back? Like, I have stuff to do too. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, boom, she was there to pick him up with some
wait,
guy.
she
Because
dropped-
you threatened to take my son. I was in
Why are you
Nevada
leaving with me
doing
for
a
2
photo
weeks
shoot
and I don't hear from you?
and hanging out with my cousin.
don't hear
because she
from her
was
for
fixing
2
to have her
weeks.
baby. I was helping her get her
In
house
Nevada?
nested. Yes,
Getting
in Nevada.
paid
And I
at
was
a
doing a
modeling
photo
job?
shoot. I can give you the proof of
Getting
the
paid
photo.
at a modeling job? You said you
Sure
were getting paid to model.
Sure do.
Okay, so the bottom line is you call them and say, can you keep King?
I said, do you want to spend time with your son? Because I'm fixing to go take a modeling shoot in Nevada.
No,
and hang out with my cousin.
that
She
was
just
not
dropped
it.
the
Yeah.
baby
She
off.
came to
I
visit
didn't.
and brought him to visit. While she was visiting, she decided to leave.
Yes.
Okay.
Not called. There wasn't.
During the visit?
Yes.
She just up and left.
Yes.
No, I didn't.
We didn't see her for 2
That's a
weeks.
bold-faced lie. I don't care what you say, bro. On my mama, bro. I told him I was
wow.
going in the
I
back
did-
for a
that's-
photo
wow.
shoot. I asked him specifically, do you want to watch your son?
That's a
Do you
lie,
want to
Your
spend some
Honor.
time with your son?
No.
If not, I could take him.
I believe in Ms. Lockridge's mind, she was leaving her child with his father.
But she left for 2 weeks.
No.
When I call her
Thursday
to
to
ask her
Tuesday.
when she's coming back, she said she'll be back when she get back. All of a sudden, I said, well, then I'm just going to keep him to figure out if he's mine. And
No.
she
It's called
came
airplane.
within an hour. She was there with
No,
a
I
man
explained.
and picked the boy up. Came in, snatched him up, left, and I didn't hear from her for a week.
Within an hour, she was there with a man.
Yes.
Yes.
A guy in the car. And I'm like, where you going? Who you with? Oh, don't worry about it. Ooh. And she just snatched him up, left most of his stuff, bottles, and
Yeah.
just left.
That's
Yeah.
a bold-faced lie, and I don't care what
So
you say.
wait,
Keep talking
so when she appeared with a man, you thought maybe that man was the father?
I
He's
didn't
my
see the man. I
mentor,
seen him in the
first off.
car. I don't know who he is.
Right.
There's too much lies. That's way too many lies for me to
Did
handle
you
right now.
appear in an hour with
No,
a man
that's a
that picked
bold-faced
King
lie.
up?
Yep.
No.
A white car.
No, it was actually a gray car.
Okay.
First off, and it wasn't no hour. It was like 6 hours later. I took the
Oh,
first
no, it wasn't.
flight
No, it
out
was
of
not.
Nevada.
No, it wasn't.
I called the photo shoot people and told them, look, my baby daddy is trying to steal my son. I can't do the rest
That's
of
a
the photo
lie,
shoot.
yeah.
And
Can
then
we
you
do it
said
in a
you were
couple
gonna
months?
produce
They
the
said,
pictures
yeah.
to prove that
So,
she was even at a
anyways,
photo shoot.
back to what I
Never
was
saw
saying.
those.
I came back, got my immediate flight. I even
And I
had
wish
a
you would
round
stop
trip
trying to
ticket.
shut me
I
up.
had to pay extra to get that immediate
is so
flight back because he was
disrespectful.
threatening to keep my son.
Brother,
Your Honor,
your
I would
younger
like to
brother?
submit a picture. So here's the first picture. That is my son, King. And here is the second picture. That is Mr. Tidwell.
Thank you, Ron.
The thing that catches me up is he looks like his side of the family.
He looks like an Ethiopian baby.
Really?
Yes, he does to me. He's from day one when
Look
I
at
The
that
first
first,
nose, though. Look at
this,
that
this
hairline.
is King.
That's King.
And the next photo is Mr. Tidwell as a baby.
Look at the earmarks, the ear tags. There's nobody else.
Miss Harrington,
Yes, Your Honor.
do you see a resemblance?
No.
Okay, is that why when you first met him, you told me that if your
I
son
didn't tell you
denies my
that.
son, that
I
you
didn't
slap
tell
him?
you that. I didn't tell you that.
Or were you just drinking too much?
I didn't tell you that, baby.
All right,
Baby
guys,
car.
let's get back
Okay.
to the subject at hand. You don't see a resemblance, obviously, Mr. Tidwell, nor you, Miss Harrington, and Miss Lockridge, you do. It's a beautiful little baby.
Yes.
This little boy deserves to know who his father is.
You're
That
He
he
right.
does.
does.
He
I
does.
deserve to know too.
And yes, and if you are his father, you do deserve to know.
He also deserved, can I submit one more thing?
Absolutely.
The birth certificate. There's no dad's name on it. That's all I want today. And if my son's name is King Tidwell, he needs the man that named him King Tidwell to be in his life.
You didn't just pick the name King, you gave him his last name too.
But yet he's gonna deny my son?
I
From
can
your
see that
actions.
hurt.
Denying is not the problem, Your Honor. It's
From
the
your
actions
actions.
of the way she's been acting,
Yes.
the things she do, and the men, the other
So wait a
men.
minute, what I want to understand quickly, you name the child
I gave her the name that I wanted my son to have.
because at that moment
And
you
she
thought,
put it on there. Exactly. Yes, Your Honor.
at that moment you thought the baby
Yeah.
was yours. Then later on you started to believe he was not
Yes.
because of what you heard
No, what I've seen. Her
and what
actions.
you've seen. Okay, the only way we're gonna get down to the bottom of this is to get the result.
Smooth.
Yes.
Ron,
Ma'am.
these results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics and they read as follows. In the case of Lockridge versus Tidwell, when it comes to 10-month-old King Tidwell, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Tidwell, you are not his father.
Are you kidding me?
Messed up, man.
I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
From the bottom of my broken heart, Wallace Tidwell, I'm sorry. And to your whole family, I apologize. I have no idea who his dad is at this point.
We knew that. We
I'm
know
sorry,
that.
but I didn't
It's
sleep.
okay. Calm easy. Oh, Jesus.
Oh, Ron, get her.
Oh, boy. I knew it. I knew it.
Good fireman. Okay.
Gianna, calm down, babe. It's okay. We're all here. We're all here.
Juliana, I'm here with you.
I'm not gonna leave you. Okay?
Let it out.
Calm down.
It's okay. All right. Let it out. Let it out.
Just sit down, honey. It's okay. It's okay.
I just want to talk bad about it.
We handle very serious issues in this courtroom. And I think what we all witnessed today is she truly believed that, Mr. Tidwell, you were her child's father. The truth, sometimes it breaks us down. And we need a minute to process it. And she needs a minute.
Yes.
She's with Dr. Jeff Gardier, and he is going to take good care of her.
I'm not gonna shun her out. We love this baby.
Mr. Robinson, you and your wife say you are not the father of the defendant's son, Travaris, but know who is.
Yes, Your
You
Honor.
claim she deceived you into believing you were the father to collect child support, and as a result of your inability to pay, your driver's license was suspended and your tax return was taken.
Yes, Your Honor.
Today, you're suing Ms. Grant for $124 for license reinstatement fees and plan to return to court in your home state to fight for $1,685.10 in garnished wages.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Grant, you believe Mr. Robinson is denying your son only because he was summoned to pay more than $13,000 in back child support. Am I correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Robinson, how has this situation affected your marriage?
We had got a letter in mail saying that he was $13,000 arrearage in back time child support.
So before this letter, you didn't know he was even the father?
Well, when me and him met and got married in '09, he told me he had 3 children.
Okay.
And he was not in their life. I made him get in their life. Told him that you doing for my kids, you need to do for your own.
Your Honor,
All
that's
of a
not
sudden,
You say that's not true, Ms.
No.
Grant?
my son never went around them.
yes, he did.
Dexter did claim my child because I have proof here where he went to sign papers and everything.
Yeah, he did sign
And
the paper,
then
but he
when
didn't sign the
when I
birth
was in the
certificate.
Well, will you
hospital,
hand
He
me,
didn't
you
sign
said
the
you
birth
have proof?
certificate.
yes. He had the opportunity.
What is this
then.
paperwork?
That is where he signed and say that is his child, and he states that he would pay $60 a month for his child.
This is an affidavit, an admission of paternity, which is basically an acknowledgement of paternity. Did you sign this, sir? That's your signature?
Yes, Your Honor.
How old was Mr. Christian Travaris when this was signed?
I think he was a couple of months, Your Honor.
So this was right after he was born?
Right. And during that time, Dexter was acknowledging that that was his child. I mean, he was coming there. We was going places together. He brought stuff. I mean, we was like as a family. I mean, yeah, he had another family also, but he played the role as a father doing then. A year after my child was born, that's when Dexter went his separate ways and his family started saying he wasn't his and all that.
So take me back. I want to understand this relationship a little bit. You all met and you started a sexual relationship.
Yes, ma'am.
And how long after that did you realize you were pregnant?
We started dating October the 7th, 1989. And
They
we'll
were
go
not
to the-
never in a relationship.
Your Honor, yes, we are. And as a matter of fact, where was you in 1989 when we was together?
Well,
How
I'm
did you
I'm-
know
I'm
what
with
was
him
going
now.
on?
I'm with him now.
Dexter, I slept with you. I did not sleep with your
Well,
wife. Could you
well,
please tell her
it's-
that we
it's
was
my
together?
responsibility now because of
Where's we
09.
together?
Ms. Grant, how did this develop into a sexual relationship?
He asked me, he said, you know my birthday is next month. And I said, no. He said, yeah, it's November the 28th. He said, can we get together for my birthday? So in November, we got together at my cousin's house in the back seat of his Burgundy Bonneville, and that's where Travaris was conceived. He told me, when we finished having sex, he looked me in my face and he said, Tisha, you are pregnant. It was different. I mean, yeah, prior to Dexter, I had a relationship with Eddie. I can't say it was a relationship. I slept with Eddie.
That doesn't mean
But-
he's the father.
If you having sex with somebody, how is that not meaning that he is the father?
Okay, when you having
But
sex
my
with two
thing
different
is,
men,
So
I
wait,
was with Eddie.
you having two
Let me
different
be
prior to
clear.
me,
Let me be
Dexter-
clear. Let me be clear. So you had sex with Mr. Robinson
Yes.
in the backseat of this car.
Yes.
But you were also in a sexual relationship with another man during that time.
No, prior to meeting Dexter.
Well, not during the window of conception or during the window of conception?
Not during the window of the conception.
Okay. And that man is here in court today. So you find out you're pregnant. And so after he told you that, when you find out you're pregnant, you instantly think it's Mr. Robinson.
I know it's Mr. Robinson.
So you tell him. How did he respond?
Nothing. I mean, he just took on the responsibility.
So you say he stepped up, he took on the responsibility. So, Mr. Robinson, you do acknowledge you had a sexual relationship with Miss Grant.
I did.
You did, okay. What I want to understand is, you went up and you signed the acknowledgement of paternity. When did you become doubtful?
2 years ago, when this other man approached him and told him that he was the father.
When they
So,
got
Mr.
the paper,
Robinson.
they had to pay $13,000, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Robinson, at some point after you signed this acknowledgement, someone came up to you and said, I'm
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Christian's father?
Yes, Your Honor.
And this was just 2 years ago?
Yes, Your Honor.
So all of these years, over 20 years, you thought Mr. Christian was your son and you were paying support?
Yes, Your Honor. This guy, Mr. Eddie, came and told me Montez was his son. But out of all this time, I really thought Montez was my son.
And then what happened after that?
Mr. Robinson came home and told me about it.
This man
What
that they're
friend?
claiming walked up to him and said, I'm really Mr. Christian's father. Do you know who this man is?
I do know him, Your Honor.
And did you have a sexual relationship with him?
Prior to the conceived of Travaris.
So before Mr. Christian was conceived, you were in a sexual relationship with this other man?
Yes.
And that is Mr. Ellis?
That is. Uh-huh.
I want to hear from him. Jerome, would you please escort him into the courtroom, please? Mr. Ellis, thank you for being here today. We are, of course, discussing the paternity as it relates to Mr. Christian. And we've heard testimony that says you approached Mr. Robinson at some point and said, I'm Mr. Christian's father.
Well,
did that happen?
No, that's a lie. He approached me. He came to me and he said, I heard that Montez was your son. I said, well, hey, man, hey, look, I didn't tell you to go up there and sign them papers. So that's on you. You know, I feel that he is my son because of his mom had approached me and said once.
And I never, Your Honor, I never in my life told him that he was.
Yes, you have.
Miss Grant, I'm going to give you a chance to respond. Let me hear his testimony first. Mr. Ellis, proceed.
He used to stay with my mom, and all y'all, we call me Pops and whatnot, so, hey, I feel he my son, you know?
So you acknowledge that you had a sexual relationship with Miss Grant, and was it during the window of time when Mr. Christian was conceived? You believe that?
Yes.
What did Miss Grant say to you that made you believe that you were
He told me to go get my son out the tree. You know, go and get him out the tree. Acting just like you.
How old was he when she said that?
I think he was probably about 7 or 8, something like that.
So you were just over there and she said, go get your son out the tree.
Yeah.
And then what, you looked at her and you felt like, are you saying to me this is my son?
Your Honor, if my son went up the tree, you know that if my son went up the tree, he came down. Now, at the age of 14, my child, I mean, apparently y'all don't know who he is, so where you been all this time?
Well,
if you claiming to be the father and say, I said at the age of 7 or 8 that he was your child, so why it took you that long to come in and respond to him, and now all of a sudden you saying that he's your child? Where is my support?
Well, hey, look,
I mean, seriously.
I mean,
So who's the bad person
well,
here?
you told me it wasn't mine.
And my point exactly.
So
I told you he wasn't yours.
Yeah, when you
I
said-
never told you he was.
But when you said it wasn't
Exactly,
mine.
just like Mr. Eddie had came and told my husband that Mr. Christian was his child.
Yeah, when you told me it wasn't mine, what I supposed to do?
That's what I'm
So
saying.
I-
So
I
how would I
left it
tell you
alone.
he yours and then I talk about he's not yours?
by me-
Come on, get your story straight.
So by
Let
me-
me know.
by me
That's
leaving
money.
it alone.
What did I
That's
say?
all.
So how would I
left it
tell you
alone.
he yours and then I talk about he's not yours?
by me-
Come on, get your story straight.
Going through the years, now you and him then broke up. Now all of a sudden, everybody going around saying, hey, man, that's your son.
Thank you, everybody else. Not Tisha, everybody else saying
You
that he's
said it,
yours.
Will.
Everybody else. Your mom even the one that agreed to say he was yours.
He stayed with my mother.
He stayed his sophomore year of high school with her. We had a falling out. And at that time, he used to spend a lot of time over there because he ran track and played sports with
So he
his
used to
nephew.
spend a lot of time over with Mr. Ellis's family?
Yes.
Yeah.
But why?
Because he was friends with his nephew.
So when he would spend the summers and be involved in your family, you thought it was because he was your family, he was your son?
Of course. Exactly.
All right, so I would like to hear from Mr. Christian. Sir, would you please stand? So, Mr. Christian, were you ever told that Mr. Ellis was your father?
I was told that it could be either of the two.
That it could be either of the two?
Yes, ma'am.
And who told you this?
My mom.
She did?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Ms. Grant, your son's saying that you honestly told him it could be either of these two men.
Mm-hmm.
In your prior testimony, you said you were only sleeping with Mr. Ellis way before Mr. Robinson.
I was telling the truth earlier. But you know, as a young girl, the community say, he look like him, he look like this, and he look like... So, okay, they drilled it in my head, and I'm like, I know when I had him.
You really think Mr. Robinson is your child's father?
Yeah.
But your community keeps saying that he looks like Mr. Ellis.
Yes.
And so ultimately, you have to tell your son, I really don't know. It could be one of these two men.
Right, because everybody running to him and saying, now, you know Eddie is your daddy and all that. So once everybody was running to him, I said, well, everybody else saying, I said, it could possibly be.
Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Robinson and Mr. Robinson, you're saying you want $124 because you have to apply to get his driver's license reinstated because it was suspended because of failure to pay his support.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you believe that this was not lawful and not appropriate because he really is not the father.
Yes, Your Honor.
I know exactly why he's on child support. He's on child support because he signed voluntarily an acknowledgement of paternity. He admitted that he was the father legally when he executed that. Do you understand?
Yes.
And this is what's important, is that ignorance of the law is never an excuse. So therefore, I cannot award you the $124 that it would cost to reinstate his license because by signing that document, he acknowledged he's the father, he's responsible for the child support. Your claim is denied. All right, so Mr. Christian, who did you call or regard as your father growing up?
Eddie most of the time.
That would be Mr. Ellis.
Yes, ma'am.
When you thought about dad, when you thought about father, you thought about him.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you know that Mr. Robinson was paying child support?
No, ma'am.
You never knew that?
Neither one of them actually did anything. Like, I just, referred to him as more of a father because his family, like he said, they reached out towards me more.
Yep.
Mr. Ellis's?
Yes.
And what about your relationship with Mr. Robinson and his family?
There was no relationship with me and his family.
So you
Your Honor,
felt
we sent
rejected
him
by
money.
his family,
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, we
and they
sent
would
him
tell
money.
you you're not.
When did you send me money?
We sent you money
When?
to Western Union.
When?
Back in 09.
You show me a receipt and I'll tell you that I'm a lie.
You say you've never received any
Never
money.
received money from either one of them. Throughout college, throughout everything. Like, I got a full athletic scholarship, running track at Mississippi State. Everything for me in college was paid for. Like, although I thank my mom for all she's done, she went on to finish high school, took college courses, been working at the hospital since I was 8. But, that's all I ever had was my mom. Like, true enough, he started trying to interact with me more, like he said, when I was around his family. And that's Eddie, of course. But Dexter never did anything for me. I never had a real father figure in my life. Both of them basically made bad decisions coming up. True enough, he stayed in Michigan and he stayed basically 10 miles away, and I never even had a relationship with him at all.
So, Ms. Grant, I have to ask you, because I'm looking at this handsome young man, smart young man. I can't imagine anybody that wouldn't want to be his dad.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think this is about?
It's more of they saying that I want money. I hadn't had money in 25 years, 24 years of his life.
My mom
I
is
worked,
not money hungry at all.
I worked all my life since he became a child since I brought him into this world. I've been working
But
since
he's
I was 14.
$13,000 behind. I mean, that's what you
Okay,
want.
but if you was paying child support, you shouldn't be $13,000 behind.
But if you wouldn't
Come
have been, but if you wouldn't have been saying
But you
another
paid
man
him.
was the daddy, maybe he would have been
But you
doing
said
his
this just happened
responsibility.
2 years ago, so what happened to the other 22 years? Why you hadn't paid nothing then?
Neither one of them was around. Neither
Girl,
one of them was
please, get your life.
I think the way that we can all begin to move forward is to just get the results. Are we ready?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Robinson versus Grant, when it comes to 24-year-old Travaris Christian, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Eddie Ellis, you are not the father. Mr. Dexter Robinson, you are not the father.
Thanks God.
There's nobody else?
There has to be at least one more. And I know that's a long time to think back. I think you got some thinking to do. You have an amazing young man here. It's about finding out the answers for your child. He deserves that. Mr. Robinson, Ms. Robinson, I need to inform you that there is no guarantee that you will be released from your obligation to pay those arrears, because under the law, when you sign that acknowledgement of paternity voluntarily, you're responsible. Are you all right, Mr. Christian?
Oh, yes, ma'am, I'm fine. I'm a grown man now. I moved on with life. It hurt, like, for Eddie not to be my father, simply because his family, they look at me more like as a family member.
I'm gonna still be in your life, either way it go.
I appreciate that.
Mr. Hinton, you say that a brief affair with the defendant's now deceased mother resulted in their birth. You say you lost touch with the children after a tragic accident and have spent the last 25 years trying to find them and prove you are their father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Waddell, you and your twin brother say Mr. Hinton is a stranger who popped up out of nowhere claiming he's your father. You say you've always known that Mr. Walls is your dad and you want Mr. Hinton to move on with his life. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Hinton, I'll start with you. Why do you believe these are your children?
I was in Columbus, Ohio at a flea market. Somebody came up and tapped me on the back of my shoulder. I turned around and looked. I didn't recognize her at first. Then she looked at me like, this is Tanya. And then it clicked for me right then and there. So we did our pleasantries and we hugged. So I said, well, why don't you come over tonight and we'll do some talking. So I came over that night and I talked to her. At the time, we was talking, there was kids running around the living room. I mean, just running around like kids do. And so there was two kids, basically, a boy and a girl. One time, they both stopped at the same time and looked at me, okay? And next thing you know, the boy just took off, because he was in his own element doing what he was doing. But the daughter, she ran and jumped in my arms. And I said, boy, she don't want to never leave me. Then her mother told her, well, she probably know that you are her father.
What?
He's not my father.
And that little girl was Ms. Waddell,
Yes.
Maryland.
Yes.
He's not my father, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Waddell, you disagree?
I totally disagree. I literally only heard of this man 3 years ago when he messaged me through Facebook and claimed to be my father. So...
You don't remember that encounter?
Not at all. Not at all.
She was only about 2 then, so she wouldn't remember.
The only thing that I remember is I do remember when I was a little girl and my mom let me go with a man who I called Mark. I didn't even call him Dad. I didn't call him Manny. His name was Mark. He just took an interest in me and my mother just let me go with him. We would just go to get ice cream. We'd go to the park or, then he would just bring me back. And I just remember one day that he just literally came and was like, this is the last time I'm going to see you. I'm moving away, and I never saw him anymore. And that was Probably about a year or so before my mother passed.
So you met a man named Mark.
And it wasn't like a long time that I was even seeing him. It wasn't like it, when I say a long time, like years, that this man was involved with me, this Mark man.
That's not true, Your Honor. Because the fact of the matter is, once she told me right then and there, I took the responsibility. This is my child, okay? Now, mind you, I have to tell you a little element that at the time, she did not tell me that Marshawn and Marilyn were twins. So I did not know this.
Why would she not tell you that,
I don't know.
that we were
Even
twins?
to this
That
day,
makes
I
no
don't
sense.
know. They weren't identical twins, so it just didn't click to me, okay?
So wait, you claim you were there and you took responsibility after the mother said you the father.
Yes.
But Ms. Waddell testified that she got picked up and spent time with a man named Mark.
Mark.
Your name is Emanuel.
Right. Well, I can tell you I'll tell you the reason why I'm behind that, and it sounds kind of weird, but trust me, let me walk you through this. At the time in Columbus, Ohio, I don't know what it was a big boom. There's a lot of males that were named Emanuel. I knew 6 people named Emanuel myself. So I didn't want these people to keep, everybody in the whole city, keep interfering with me, thinking I'm this Emanuel and I'm this Emanuel. Mark is my middle name.
That doesn't even make any sense. Like,
Mark
you
is my
gonna
middle
change
name.
your whole
I can show
name just
you.
because there's...
Wait a minute. So you're testifying that you are Mark.
My name is Emanuel Mark Hinton.
Jerome, let me see that ID.
I went by my middle name in there because I just didn't want the confusion.
Even if you went by Mark, and even if you went by that, and my mother
This ID
told
says Emanuel M. Hinton.
No.
Emanuel Mark Hinton, yes.
Hold on. Let me go into the file, because this right here.
Even if my mother told you that you were my father, when I was spending those weekends with you, why didn't I call you dad? Why was it Mark?
You did call me dad.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you
Never
did.
call, I've
But like
never
I said,
called
you
no
was
one
2
dad in my
years-
life.
You
No,
was 2
I
years old
haven't.
going into 3.
You
Okay,
told
that's the whole
me.
thing.
All right,
told
let's
me
get
maybe
some order, because in my court records, I just pulled up Ohio Public Records in Cincinnati, Ohio. Yes, I do see you listed here as Emanuel Mark Hinton, and you also go by Mark Hinton.
Yes.
So you are that Mark.
Yes, I am. Always have been.
And you're shaking your head, Miss Waddell. You don't believe that's the Mark you were hanging out with?
No, Your Honor.
As I was like, my family has always told me that I always heard Reynard. I've never heard Emanuel. I've always heard Reynard. I mean, I didn't meet Reynard until I was 25.
Yeah.
So altogether, I was like, who is this Reynard? I've never heard Emanuel. I've never heard Emanuel. I've never heard how to, until I just got older.
Since I was about 16 years old, my family members have always told me that Mr. Walls over here is my father.
You've always been told Mr. Walls is your biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
But you do admit you were allowed to spend time with a gentleman named Mark.
Yes, Your Honor. And it was just me. It wasn't, my twin brother wasn't there with us. It was just me.
But you testified, Mr. Hinton, you never knew they were twins.
I never knew they was twins until shortly before the accident of her mother had got into a really bad car accident. Prior to that, that's when I was over there to pick her up one weekend, and I brought her back on Sundays like I normally do. Me and her mother sat down and talked, and then, because I kept asking her, I said, why do she keep saying twin? She said, twin this. And I'm saying, because they don't look alike, whatever case may be. So she said, well, Marshawn is her twin, which is also your child also. So right then and there, I let her have it. Why didn't you tell me this then? Okay? Because here's the thing about it is that something happened prior to all this. Marshawn was no longer in the household, but I let her have it because now you telling me I have a daughter, and now I have twins.
We're 33 years old.
But
so if you are our father, why would you wait all of this time? Why would you wait all of this time? Me and my twin, we grew up in foster care, and we were even separated. We were separated at 9 years old. Where did you go? I don't understand after 33 years why you just come in all of a sudden and you find me on Facebook. You say you were looking for me all this time. I've been in the same place.
Mr. Hinton, can you answer Ms. Waddell's question? You see the tears in her eyes. You see the pain. These two young people been through a lot. If you are Mark, why didn't you find them? After their mother's passing, what happened?
This is the thing is,
I remember
I was there at the hospital the night before she died. And she just started crying uncontrollably. And I sat down right next to her and I told her I would take care of them. Don't worry about it. Because everybody, we knew that she was dying.
Well, you didn't take care of her, so why would you even make that type of promise
so
to
you
her?
have this moment, this profound moment with this woman before her passing.
Yes.
And you say, I will take care of them.
I would take care of them. I was gonna find him
But
some
you
way,
didn't.
somehow.
But you
So
didn't.
what happened?
The night, the wake of her mother's funeral, I was there that night, okay? I had Marilyn with me already during that day. We wound up going there to the wake together.
That's a lie.
I was at the
I was
funeral,
not
too.
with you. I remember
Yes,
exactly
you
who
was.
I was with. I was not
Yes,
with
was.
you.
But anyway,
No, I
like I was
wasn't.
saying, Your Honor, I didn't have myself together. So I went to the family member who had custody of them. I said, look, I'm going to Cincinnati. I got a job offer. Give me 6 months. I'm coming back to get her.
And
Point
he never
blank.
came back.
Now here's the thing.
He claims that he was there, that he was there at my mother's death, but that makes me very upset, extremely
there.
upset. So I feel like if you were there when my mother died at the hospital on her deathbed, and she told you she wanted you to take care of us, take care of me, whatever, where did you go? Why would you just leave us there? Why did we have to grow up the way that we did? That makes no sense to me.
He wasn't there.
There's literally no excuse that he can give me on why he wasn't there, especially when he keeps insinuating that he was there when my mother passed.
He was at the
He was at the
hospital or
hospital,
funeral?
you were at the funeral.
He wasn't there.
And then suddenly you just disappeared. You weren't there anymore.
This is what happened. Like I said, I asked the guardian, give me 6 months, I'm gonna come back and get her. It took me 7 months to get myself together, okay? I came back up on the weekend to come to get her. And I told her point blank to the guardian, I said, I'm here to get Marilyn. She told me, you're not gonna get her. I don't trust you, I don't know you, you're not gonna go with
if
him.
we're twins,
I was there with
at
Marilyn.
this point he knows that we're twins, right?
My foster
So if
family bought me there. I had a foster family that bought me there.
But you wasn't there when I came up to get her.
If we're
You wasn't there.
twins,
Yes,
why
we
didn't
was.
he
We
just
both-
why didn't he come back to get both of us 7 months later?
7 months later.
Yeah, why would you just say I'm coming back to get Marilyn?
Because he was not there.
Okay.
I was there.
I'm not gonna take one and not take the other.
I'm a single mother. I struggle, but I'm not just gonna leave him or just put him in foster care, let him go over, A, B, C house just because I can't take him. We gonna struggle together.
You're breaking the cycle.
Yes, I'm
with your
totally
son.
breaking the cycle.
But there wasn't a cycle there, Deanna.
Well,
What's the
this,
cycle?
Because here's the-
well,
It wasn't
Mr.
that
Hinton,
I tried.
Hold on. There may not have been a cycle for you, but you must acknowledge that these young people have been through
I agree. I acknowledge that as all. But
what
I
we
tried.
would not want any child to have to go through. They were separated and separated from their family. Now, with that said, I want to understand your testimony clearly. It is not that you didn't come back. When you came back, you say the person who had guardianship over them said to you, I don't know you, I don't trust you, this wasn't written anywhere, you not on the birth certificate, you can't take them.
She told me, you need to leave my yard, get out my space, I'm gonna call the cops. I went to family services and told them exactly, this is what the plan that we had. I am the father. She told, her caseworker told me, said that this lady had called us to say that this man in Cincinnati, claiming to be their father, saying they're gonna come back and get him, I'm not giving her to him. So Children's Services took the kids out of the home for whatever reasons it was happening, but they were all gone. Okay, so now, where is my child? I need to know where my child is. Okay, so I decided that I'll go back to Cincinnati. I hired a private detective.
What did that investigator come up with? What intel did you get from that?
Well, that private investigator came back. She had been moving around quite a bit, to a point to where somewhere on the East Coast, she went somewhere.
That's a lie. That's a lie.
Even somewhere down south, I think Texas or something like that. Somewhere down in there, and a couple
I
other
told you
places.
that I moved to Texas.
Well,
I told you I was there
I
for
already
1
knew that
year.
before you
Your
told me
investigator
that.
didn't know that. I was only there for a year.
already,
So I didn't.
Before you told me that, I already
time-
knew this
no,
stuff.
you didn't.
Yes, I did.
You didn't.
But anyway, I tried.
So once you hired the private investigator and you didn't come up with anything, you just left it alone?
I mean, I'm talking about almost $15,000. After that, I gave up the private investigator because, like I said, I just couldn't keep affording to do that. Some years went by, and it's like, I'm despondent because they are my heart. They are who I am. They're my legacy.
Well, your heart,
You know,
but
they're my
you
legacy.
popped up 3 years ago.
It doesn't matter if I popped up 3 years ago or
out
3
of
minutes ago.
nowhere.
That
It does
still
matter.
matters.
Yes, it does matter.
But I've always been there.
It matters.
I've always been there.